What if humanity could open the source code of life and edit it like software? Not just fixing broken code, but writing entirely new lines that never existed before. For billions of years, life on Earth has evolved through blind trial and error. Mutations shuffled DNA like cosmic dice, while natural selection kept only the survivors. Humans, like every other species, were passengers on this chaotic ride until now. In the last few decades, biotechnology has given us tools powerful enough to grab the steering wheel of evolution. CRISPR-Cas 9, base editing and prime editing, like molecular scissors and pencils, able to cut, paste, or rewrite DNA with astonishing precision. What once took nature millennia can now be done in a lab in weeks. The possibilities sound like science fiction. Imagine a world without genetic disease. No child would ever be born with cystic fibrosis, sickle cell anemia, or Huntington's disease. These tragic inheritances could be deleted forever, cut out of humanity's story like typos in a manuscript. Parents could guarantee their children a healthy start in life. But the same tools that let us cure can also let us design. Eye color, height, metabolism, even personality traits. In theory, all encoded in our DNA. Why stop at normal when you could enhance? Stronger muscles, sharper minds, resistance to radiation, even traits borrowed from other species. A human who heals like a salamander or sees like an owl doesn't sound impossible anymore. The temptation is obvious. Every parent wants the best for their children. If technology allowed you to eliminate risks and add advantages, could you resist? And if some parents choose upgrades, wouldn't others feel pressured to keep up? Designing your child might shift from luxury to necessity. Not because you want to, but because everyone else is doing it. At that point, medicine becomes engineering. Evolution becomes a human project. The line between natural and artificial, between therapy and enhancement, blurs until it disappears. Humanity, for the first time, would be shaping not just the world around us, but ourselves. It is a breathtaking idea, but also unsettling. Because this is not just about healthier babies or smarter kids. It is about redefining what it means to be human. A species that writes its own blueprint is no longer following evolution. It is creating something entirely new. So here we stand, at the threshold of a future where life is no longer discovered, but designed. The question is not whether we can. The tools are already here. But whether we should. What if every newborn came with a design catalogue? Eye color, blue. Intelligence, above average. Athletic ability, Olympic. Would this be medicine or shopping? Curing genetic disease feels like compassion. Giving parents the power to prevent their children from suffering is hard to argue against. But once you move beyond therapy into enhancement, things get blurry. Why not make a child not only healthy but also brilliant? Not just free of illness but free of every imperfection? Here lies the temptation of perfection and its hidden costs. The science itself is not magic. While monogenic diseases can be corrected with relative precision, traits like intelligence, musical talent, or personality are influenced by thousands of genes plus environment. Editing them is like trying to reprogram a computer by randomly poking at wires. But even if we could overcome this complexity, a more pressing question remains: should we? History gives us a warning. In the early 20th century, eugenics movements tried to decide who was fit to reproduce. The results were discrimination, suffering, and genocide. Modern genetic design is not the same, but the parallels are uncomfortable. A world where children are selected for better traits. risks resurrecting the ugliest chapters of our past this time, powered by cutting-edge science. And then there's inequality. Advanced biotechnologies don't come cheap. The first families to afford genetic enhancements would likely be the wealthy. Their children would grow up not only with better schools and opportunities, but also with superior biology. Over generations, this could harden into a true genetic caste system. The designed and the natural, one group healthier, stronger, and perhaps longer lived, the other stuck in the lottery of unedited DNA. It's not hard to imagine the social fallout. Would natural humans become second-class citizens? Would society pressure parents into designing children just to keep them competitive? What starts as choice could quickly turn into obligation. Even if enhancements became universal, there's another risk: unintended consequences. Biology is a web of interconnections. Editing one gene might fix a disease but also raise the risk of another. Boosting intelligence might come with higher chances of anxiety or depression. Strengthening the immune system might increase autoimmune disorders. Every upgrade could carry hidden trade-offs, like buying a miracle gadget with a 100-page manual of fine print. And then there's the cultural cost. If perfection becomes the norm, how would we see imperfection? Disabilities, quirks, even ordinary variation, all the things that make us uniquely human, could come to be seen as flaws to be corrected. Diversity, the very strength of our species, might be engineered away in pursuit of uniform ideals. Yet resisting this temptation may be harder than it sounds. Technology rarely waits for ethics. IVF was once controversial. Today, it's routine. Cosmetic surgery was once taboo. Now, it's normalized. Step by step, what was once radical becomes expected. Genetic design could follow the same path, starting with compassion, drifting into convenience, ending in competition. The price of perfection, then, may not just be inequality or unforeseen medical risks. It could be the erosion of humanity's messiness, the randomness that makes every life unique, unrepeatable, and full of surprise. Because once children come with design options, it's no longer just evolution at work. It's us. And in chasing perfection, we may discover that what we lost was the very thing that made us human. What if the future of humanity split into two species, not through evolution, but through inequality? One designed, the other left behind. Technology rarely spreads evenly. Smartphones, internet access, even clean water still reach people unequally. Genetic design would be no different. Except here, inequality would be written into the body itself. Imagine the year 2100. In gleaming megacities, the wealthy raise children engineered to be healthier, taller, sharper. Meanwhile, in poorer regions, natural children are still born with genetic disorders, shorter lifespans, and the full lottery of human flaws. The gap between rich and poor would no longer be measured in money or education, but in biology itself. This isn't just speculation. We've seen similar dynamics with healthcare before. Vaccines, once a privilege of the rich, eventually became widespread. But in the decades of delay, millions died. With genetic design, the stakes are even higher. Generations could be locked into advantage or disadvantage before they even take their first breath. Social pressure would make this divide even sharper. If designed children consistently outperform natural ones in school, sports, careers, parents everywhere would feel forced to follow whether they want to or not. Not enhancing your child might be seen as neglect. A parent saying, "I want my child to be natural," could be accused of dooming them to second-class status. The world might drift toward a Gattaca future, where DNA becomes destiny. Employers, governments, even dating apps could demand proof of genetic quality, natural humans might find doors closed to them, not because of who they are, but because of what their genes are not. And what about identity? If humans start designing traits, will culture shift around new ideals? Maybe pale skin that resists UV, or engineered muscles that fit futuristic aesthetics. Over time, beauty standards could shift to match the catalog options. Diversity, instead of being celebrated, could be streamlined into a narrow vision of what ideal humanity looks like. Even more unsettling is the possibility of genetic isolation. What if the enhanced choose only to marry other enhanced? Over centuries, this could create reproductive barriers. Not a new species overnight, but a gradual drift towards something different. A humanity fractured not by geography, but by design. Of course, not all scenarios are dystopian. Governments could regulate enhancements, making them free and universal, much like vaccines today. But this would require global cooperation, strong governance, and cultural acceptance, things humanity has always struggled to achieve. Without them, the road to a divided humanity may be paved with good intentions, but end in permanent inequality. And once that divide exists, how do you heal it? History tells us. It's much easier to create inequality than to erase it. If biology itself becomes a marker of class, the consequences could echo for millennia. So the danger is not only what genes we change, but who gets to change them. Because if design becomes a privilege of the few, humanity may wake up one day and realize it is no longer one species, but two. What if evolution itself became optional? What if natural selection, the blind engine of life for 4 billion years, was replaced by conscious human choice? Until now, every species was shaped by forces beyond its control: random mutations, survival, and reproduction. Humanity is no exception. Our brains, bodies, and immune systems are the result of countless lucky accidents polished by time. But with gene editing, for the first time, a species has gained the power to take over its own evolution. This is both breathtaking and dangerous. Evolution's strength lies in diversity. Every individual is slightly different, and those differences act as insurance against unexpected change. A population with genetic variety can adapt to new diseases, climates, or disasters. But if humans converge on a narrow, optimal design, we might unintentionally strip away this survival toolkit. Imagine agriculture as a warning. For thousands of years, humans selected only the best crops. Big, sweet, high yield. The result? Fragile monocultures. A single fungus can now wipe out entire banana plantations, because every plant is genetically identical. If we design ourselves the same way, all optimized for today's environment, we could be blindsided by tomorrow's challenges. There's also the problem of complexity. Genes rarely do just one thing. A variant that boosts memory might also increase anxiety. A tweak that strengthens bones might make childbirth harder. Biology is full of trade-offs, honed by evolution's messy compromises. By editing ourselves, we risk unraveling balances we don't yet understand. And then there's the question of speciation. Could designed humans actually become a new species? Biologists define a species as a group that can reproduce with each other. As long as enhanced humans and natural humans can have children together, we remain one species. True speciation would require reproductive isolation, separate groups that no longer mix. That seems unlikely in the short term. But socially, isolation is possible. If the enhanced choose only to marry each other, genetic differences could accumulate. Over centuries, humanity could drift apart. Not by geography, but by biology. Some thinkers see this not as tragedy, but destiny. Maybe Homo sapiens is just a stepping stone, and our post-human descendants will be as different from us as we are from Neanderthals. But there's a paradox. Every past species transition was unplanned. Ours would be intentional. That means the responsibility for the outcome, good or bad, would rest squarely on our shoulders. It's worth asking, is evolution still evolution if it has an engineer? Or does it become something new? Not natural selection, but designed selection? A process where chance and survival are replaced by preference and power. The danger is that our preferences are short-sighted. We might design for beauty, intelligence, or strength, but neglect resilience, empathy, or creativity. In chasing ideals, we could engineer fragility. Evolution never cared about fairness or comfort, but it kept us alive. Taking over its job could make us the most adaptable species in history, or the first to edit ourselves into extinction. What if the greatest question of the 21st century is not what we can do with DNA, but what kind of future we dare to create with it? The science is already here. CRISPR can cut and paste genes with surgical precision. Prime editing and synthetic genomics are pushing boundaries once thought impossible. The tools to design humans are no longer science fiction. They are waiting in laboratories, getting cheaper, faster, and more powerful. The real barrier is no longer technology, but choice. What kind of species do we want to become? One path is full of promise. Imagine a world where no child is born with genetic disease, where humanity's greatest medical burdens vanish. Lifespans could lengthen, immune systems could strengthen. Our species could thrive in environments we once thought uninhabitable, from deep space to harsh climates. With wise governance and equitable access, genetic design could be the ultimate act of compassion, giving every human the best possible start in life. But another path is darker. If enhancements are controlled by markets and power, humanity could fracture. A new aristocracy of the designed could rise above the natural, hardening inequality into biology itself. Culture might shift toward ruthless perfectionism, where flaws are erased and diversity is seen as weakness. In chasing a vision of improvement, we might lose the very messiness that makes us human. The truth is, both futures are possible, and they depend not on science, but on us. The question is not whether humans can design themselves, but whether we will handle that power with humility or hubris. Will we see genetics as a tool to reduce suffering, or as a playground for vanity and competition? Will we build a species united in health, or divided by biology? Philosophers remind us, technology doesn't dictate values, people do. Fire can warm a home or burn it down. Nuclear power can light cities or destroy them. DNA editing is no different. It is not inherently good or bad. It is a mirror reflecting our choices back at us. Perhaps the wisest future is one of restraint, to heal where we can, to enhance only with great caution, and to remember that humanity is not just a collection of genes, but a tapestry of experiences, cultures, and imperfections. Our flaws may frustrate us, but they also define us. In the end, evolution has always been blind. Now, for the first time, it may open its eyes and see us staring back. The future of our species will not be written in stone or in chance, but in the choices we make together. The question is simple but profound. If we can design our own species, What should we design it to be?